GTA Vice City is over 20 years old, and to this day, many fans consider this one of the best GTAs out there. Yet somehow, despite growing up with this game and playing it so much, I'd never actually beaten the main story on this game. So of course, with GTA 6 taking us back to Vice City, I thought now's as good a time as any to go and revisit this game and actually complete the main story for this. But one thing to mention, I went back and played the Definitive Edition. Now I know, yes, the Definitive Edition does have a mixed reception, and I can understand why. After all, this is the version where the characters look less like hardened criminals and look like they've just come straight out of a waxwork factory. The original Vice City released back in 2002 and quickly became one of Rockstar's most iconic games. Set in the neon-soaked version of 1980s Miami, is packed with fast cars, memorable characters, and an absolutely legendary soundtrack. Although if you're playing the Definitive Edition, yeah. A few of those have been sent to the Shadow Realm because of license issues. I already knew Vice City was iconic. What I didn't know is if the story, the gameplay, and the overall mechanics of this game still held up to this day compared to like modern GTA titles. Especially considering this game's over 20 years old now. I loaded this game up 20 odd years later after myself not playing it for, I want to say, 10 or so years. Right away, the thing that stood out for me was the atmosphere. Even with the Definitive Edition's updated visuals, Vice City still has that unique vibe to it that few games have managed to recreate. The bright colors, the music, the radio stations, the 80s vibe makes the city feel full of personality. Even though there's only about 10 NPCs walking on every walkway, you know, it still feels pretty much alive. Especially if you go into like one of these nightclubs where you walk in there and you realize, yeah, maybe this isn't as alive as I thought it was. But for the time, of course it was. It's easy to see why this game is remembered so fondly. That said, the Definitive Edition isn't perfect. Like I said, the character models look like they've just come out of a waxwork factory. And there's still moments where the visuals in my memory don't really match what they used to look like. Even with the updated lighting, which they added in an update later on. But of course, that's not what I'm here for. I came here for the story. And the story follows Tommy Vercetti, who is a great main character. Instead of starting out as a nobody, he's already an experienced criminal who's trying to rebuild his reputation after a drug deal went wrong at the start of the game. He's confident, he's ruthless, and unlike some silent protagonists of that era, Tommy actually has a personality, which makes it much easier to get invested into what he's actually doing. Yes, I need to go back and play GTA 3 as well if you actually thinking about that. I played this before GTA 3's Definitive Edition, so you know, we'll have another video later on down the line if you want to see that one. And of course, the supporting cast in this is also memorable. Whether it's Lance Vance, Ken Rosenberg, or Ricardo Diaz, almost every major character in this game leaves an impression on you. As the story progresses in this game, it generally feels like you're climbing that criminal ladder and slowly yourself taking over Vice City. But one thing about this story that really did surprise me replaying this is how short the story actually is. Like, I could complete a mission on this game within a few minutes and I was like, it's over already? They were just like one after another going bing bang boom. I was like, how the hell did I never complete this to begin with? We'll get to that later on because there is a certain reason of why that happened. But I don't know. I was just expecting the missions to go on for longer, you know, like you would in GTA 4 or GTA 5. They just were really, really short. But before long, I was heading into the final missions before I knew it. Something else that caught me off guard with the story on this game as well is how little dialogue there is. Don't get me wrong, the cutscenes have dialogue here and there, and you know, you might chat to Lance for like 10 seconds, but as soon as you enter a vehicle on this game, there is little to no dialogue at all. Like, I'm fully expecting a conversation to happen of what occurred just now. You nearly got your arm blown off there, Lance. Okay, let's have a conversation about it. I can't even hear you grunting that you've got a bullet in your arm. Nope. Completely silent for minutes until you get to your actual destination. The guy gets out of the car and then you go, mission complete. A little bit of dialogue then. No conversation happens. I'm very much used to having a conversation in these cars, especially with all these different open world games now.
I want some of what you're on. It must be pretty strong because I can't see what you're so happy about. Life is shit.
I'm high on life, man. American life.
Yes, I know. It's over 20 years old. I've said it myself a few times now. Don't get me wrong though, like phone calls throughout the game that progresses the story along. Like I'll be standing there about to go and do a mission. I'll get a phone call off one of my other guys and then he has a conversation with me. That's quite surprising that that's there, but just complete silence. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, it's nowhere near as silent as I remembered GTA 3 being, especially in GTA 3 where the protagonist of the actual game doesn't speak at all. But I found myself in moments like this thinking like, okay, well, it's nice knowing you, Lance, because I feel like I don't really know you that much at all. As for the missions themselves, a lot of them are really good. Like, there's a lot of missions in this game where you feel like they're not really boring. Something's happening near enough in any mission in this game. Don't get me wrong, some of them can be frustrating. And I'm not talking about Demolition Man. I remember Demolition Man being a pain in the ass when I was a kid. And on this time, I did it first try and I was just like, I'm pretty sure there was a mission in GTA Vice City where everyone just had a bit of a moan about. I think it was this mission. And I didn't realize until I actually completed the game which one it was. And I thought, oh, yeah, I actually remember myself being a bit annoyed at this game because it was all clunky back in the day. I don't know if it's the updated controls, but this was really easy to do this time. But no, there was like certain missions where I would die and then rather than having a checkpoint that you would like in recent games, any game, let's say, no, you just have to do the whole mission over again. Yeah, that got a bit annoying. It got a bit annoying, but like I said, the missions on this game aren't too long anyway, so it was like, okay, I've died quite a few times doing this, let's just race through this mission again. I remember doing most of these missions when I was a kid and being frustrated, probably because I was a bit of a worse player for actually playing games back in the day, because I was a child and now I'm a full-blown adult, believe it or not. But I didn't really find myself getting frustrated with anything apart from like 1 or 2 missions on this game, which I suppose is good because it made it more enjoyable. But talking outside of the main story for a moment, Vice City has plenty to do to keep you busy. You can take on taxi missions, become a vigilante, deliver pizzas, do ice cream missions, race around the city, hunt for hidden packages. Yeah, I couldn't remember them. But as soon as I seen hidden package, I went, ooh, this was a thing that most GTA games used to have. I can't remember if GTA 5 has hidden packages. I haven't played GTA 5 in a while either, but let me know if GTA 5 has hidden packages, because I'm pretty sure near enough every GTA game has them. And of course on this game, you can buy properties as well. And the property situation on this is very interesting actually, because I think this is why I didn't actually complete the main story originally, because a lot of these aren't really optional side content. To actually finish the story, you need to buy so many properties, otherwise you can't progress. There's no missions actually available on the map. Like, I would be sitting there when I was a kid probably looking around like, oh, there's no more missions to do on the map. And bear in mind, this was a time where internet was a bit more lackluster than it is now. I couldn't just sit there on my phone going like, why am I not doing this? Bear in mind, I did have the internet, but I don't think it's something I would just sit there in the top of my head thinking like, okay, where do I go? And I don't think I had one of the, you know, the booklet guides that we used to have for video games back in the day. Yes, you used to be able to get these books called guides and they basically guide you through the whole game. No, I didn't have that either. But yeah, you need so many properties for the actual next mission to become available. The last 2 missions don't become available until you get so many properties and, you know, start building up your empire. And because I had to buy these certain properties to actually progress the story more, it made me actually go and dive into other side content, because without cheats on this game, you don't have enough money to actually go and buy all the properties you need to go and progress the story more. So I had to go and do even more side missions that I didn't even know were available. For example, the Love Fist situation, where you have to do Love Fist missions, then go around doing biker missions, or doing missions for the Cubans, which the head honcho of the Cubans just likes to talk about cojones. Never would have met him if I didn't have to go and buy all these properties. Or, you know, going into this weird house where this woman just, every time you go in there, hypnotizes you into doing whatever she wants. And the weird thing is, you do missions for the Cubans, which are actually against the people who she runs for, and Tommy doesn't really know what the hell he's doing, because every time he walks into that household, he's drugged up, essentially, I think. I don't even think, no, I don't know either, because I went into that house and I felt drugged up myself because I had no idea what was going on. There was a very strange situation in this game, which was some enjoyment, I suppose. But no, when you eventually do go buy those properties as well, after you have the enough money to actually go and do that, they have their own missions as their own as well. So that continues sort of like a side story to continue the story on later on as well. So yeah, there's a lot more in this game than I thought there was until you actually get to the end missions. But this time I knew what to do because the internet exists, and it actually made me enjoy this game even more. Rather than, just rushing through the story, I just did loads of side content to get all my money up to then go and buy all the properties. And like I said, it generally feels like you are building your own empire and taking over Vice City. It's a clever way of making side content feel useful and meaningful. Even though if the game doesn't really do the best job of explaining it, I think, it's a good concept. And when eventually I did get over to the main story again and do the final 2 missions, you know what I thought? I am very glad I went back to this game and actually completed it, because you know what? I actually really enjoyed this story for what it was. Even though, like I said, I feel like the dialogue is a bit lackluster compared to modern games, but when we do get the cutscenes and the dialogue, this game is very much enjoyable and the story is very much enjoyable. So with the story out of the way, let's go over some of the gameplay. Mechanically, Vice City does very much feel like a game from the early 2000s, like I've been saying throughout this video, of how little things here and there feel a bit, dated, I suppose. But it doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing. For example, the driving on this... the driving on this took me a while to get used to. Like, there's a lot of times where I feel like either a pedestrian's just running towards you to like throw you off, or a car's just purposely driving in front of you, and then you just absolutely spin out of control. And it's safe to say I still probably haven't gotten used to the driving on this. It's not awful, but compared to like recent games and obviously nowadays, it's bearable. Like, I could be going down an empty street on this road and still probably crash. The shooting on this game is a bit clunky as well. Like, you can tell, like I said, it's an older game. Doesn't mean it's bad. The shooting on this, sometimes you're having to literally sit there with a little bit of a scope whilst you're next to someone to shoot them. Or, sometimes it can be okay where you're just literally spraying. And a good thing I forgot about this game is how gory this is. I forgot you could pop people's heads off in GTA games. Like, you shoot them in the head comes off and just a splurt of blood comes out. It does remind me though how older GTA games weren't that realistic. Another thing I was getting used to on this game as well, because I haven't played an actual GTA game in quite a while now, apart from maybe like GTA Online, which is different, is how the game reacts to like you carrying weapons, for example. There was a lot of times on this game where I had a weapon in hand. I went, oh, I need to put this away, otherwise, a policeman or a guard or people are just going to react to me different. No. I could literally walk around with an AK in my hand and no one bats an absolute eyelid. Like, naturally, I was just going around, like, putting my weapon away every 2 minutes I could because I thought they were going to react, until I actually realized, no, they don't do anything. Like, they really don't care in this game if you have a gun out or not. I mean, look at Lance just at the end of the mission, walking casually after a bullet wound, going into the hospital to go and get some, treatment. And he's just carrying a submachine gun in there, like, he's going in there for a routine checkup. Apparently, the Vice City security in this hospital don't really care either. Remember, Tommy Vercetti can't swim. The amount of goddamn times I went accidentally into the water because another mechanic didn't work, the brakes on a goddamn car or any vehicle, and then you end up in the ocean and then you just drown instantly because you can't swim, or you just accidentally just run into the sea and yeah. But one of the things I did like about the Definitive Edition, compared to like some of the stuff I've actually said are a bit is the quality of life improvements. For example, auto-saving. You don't really need to go up to your base of operation or your penthouse or your friggin' mansion to go and save the game anymore. You just have an autosave feature, and I found that really helpful, considering my memory on these older games on how to save them is just a pain in the arse. It makes it a lot easier. Like, I would be doing a mission and it's saved, rather than, my game's crashed. I've just lost hours and hours worth of progress. This is maybe one of the reasons why it took me so quickly to actually do this game compared to back in the day as well, because of some of the quality of life improvements. Okay, enough talking about low mechanics and stuff like that. Let's actually talk about one of the things that every person that played the older GTAs back in the day did. Causing absolute mayhem. Back in the day, I'd spend hours upon hours just, racking up all those stars, getting the police coming after you, seeing how long I could last against all the people that came after me. And the thing I forgot about on this as well, you don't just have like the police and the FBI coming after you. The army comes after you. I completely forgot about that because on newer GTA games like GTA 4 and 5, the army doesn't come after you. Like, I'm pretty sure it just ends when you get the FBI after you and, you know, you have helicopters and everything coming after you. You have that in this game as well, but in this game as well, because the army are there, you have tanks. And yes, you can just steal someone's tank. I remembered as soon as I started doing this why I used to do this so much. This is so much more enjoyment compared to like when you play the newer GTA games where, like I just said, a helicopter comes after you, a tank comes after you, man. Damn, this was fun. You can literally just plow through anything in one of these tanks. You feel like you're just never gonna die. Like, it's not the police hunting you anymore. It's you hunting the police and seeing how long they can survive, because no one is safe around when you're in one of these bad boys. With these games, it was just sometimes good to forget about the story and then just go on an absolute riot. And apparently that's what I did when I was a kid, because like I said, didn't complete the story. I can't remember why I didn't. I've said reasons why I think I might have not completed the story originally, but this was probably one of the benefactors to it. The world of Vice City still holds up incredibly well, even to this day. It's compact, but it's still full of personality. Every little part of this map has its own little bit of identity to it, and you can tell when this game was made that they put a lot of care into it, even though this game didn't take them long to make at all, because apparently this game was going to be DLC for GTA 3 originally. Don't know why I say DLC, because obviously there wasn't really DLC back then anyway, but you know, it was not meant to really be its own game. But I'm pretty sure, like a lot of you and Rockstar probably themselves, that they're very much glad that they did make this a single game of their own. After playing the definitive edition of this game, I would say if you haven't played this game before, I would definitely try and recommend to play the original rather than this, because like I said, it's missing stuff like the soundtrack. It's not all there, but what it is there, it still holds up, you know, brings that 80s vibe, but you know, it's missing a lot of those certain things. I want to say the original version of this game, if you can get on like an emulator or something, would look a lot better than this. But I definitely wouldn't say this is an awful, you know, port of this game. I didn't play it when it originally came out without all the lighting fixtures and, you know, all the other things they added later on. But annoyingly, this is the most accessible way to actually play this game now. And I would say it's still probably worth playing the definitive edition if you can't get hold of the original. The story's still there, you know, all the characters are still there, all the voice acting's still there. But, you know, if you want that original feel, go for the original. So after beating GTA Vice City's story, I am very glad I went back to this game because, like I said, GTA 6 is going to be set in Vice City, so, you know, maybe when I play GTA 6 now, I'll, you know, see some things in GTA 6 which is a nod to this game. Will there be things in GTA 6 that are a nod to that game? Possibly not, but I'm sure there are at least one or two things. I hope so anyway. But, you know, I haven't completed any of the older GTA games apart from this one now. I never completed San Andreas, and I've never completed GTA 3, and I've certainly not completed GTA 1 and 2, or, you know, the other spin-off games. But I might make it my mission to actually go back and play all these other games, you know, and do all their stories and what I can on these games before GTA 6 comes around in November. So, you know, if you want to see more videos like that, let me know. And if you are new here, please do consider subscribing. You know, it means a lot. Like this video if you've liked this video, and I will see you in the next one.